The only thing better than buying good quality butter made from raw milk is making it yourself. So today I'm going to show you how to do that. It's pretty quick. It does require a little bit of hands-on time, but not too much. It's easy and it's kind of fun too. So you'll want to start off with some raw cream. So this is a gallon of some raw milk. We buy our raw milk each week, and the raw milk comes with cream. So today I have 2 gallons of it, but this one you can see I've already been using some of it. I use the cream to cream my coffee. I use the cream to go in my coffee each morning, about 4 or 5 cups a day. Okay, so we're going to take our cream. We're going to skim the cream off, and I like to make it in a food processor. It's much less messy this way, and it's pretty quick too. Okay, so my cream came straight from the fridge. It is still very much cold. You can do it with room temperature, whatever you want, but this is just how I make it. This will not be cultured butter, and the buttermilk that comes off of it will not be cultured buttermilk either. If you want to do that, what you do is you take your cream, just skim the cream off, and you let it sit at room temperature for a couple days, and then you turn that cream into butter, and it'll be cultured butter and then cultured buttermilk, okay? But this is not going to be cultured. This is just going to be plain butter, so let's get started. Okay, so here is 1 gallon of the milk, and you can see here has a pretty thick cream line. So what we're going to do is we're just going to take our ladle, and we're going to just ladle it into this food processor here, okay? And if you want to read a post and see pictures of when I did it another time, or the last time I should say, I will have that post in the description box below. So we just want to be careful and make sure that we are doing our absolute best and only skimming the cream off, okay? So you want your milk to have been sitting still for a while to let the cream rise back to the surface. And you only want to put your ladle in just a very little bit and kind of let the cream come into the ladle and not the other way around, because you just want to get as much cream as possible and not so much milk. You just keep doing this, and then whenever you start to see, once you get down to the bottom of the cream almost, you will start to see, if you look closely, you'll start to see some little like watery stuff that's coming into your ladle with the cream, and that is the milk. So just be very careful and try not to get much of that. Whenever you start to see that, you'll just want to take your ladle and just go around the edge along the glass side of the bowl at an angle, and it allows more of the cream and less of the milk to come through. Okay, so you can see that this 1 gallon here gave me about 4 cups of cream. So there's 6, there's 5, and then right here is 4. So it gave me just a hair over 4 cups of cream. So we don't want to make this completely full. I might go ahead and take some cream from the other jar and just put a little bit more, maybe another half cup or so, because when you start spinning this, it gets pretty thick and full. So we want to make sure we have plenty of room for it to blend up. So it has been spinning for a couple minutes. You can see it's starting to get frothy looking. So we will continue this. You can see here what it is starting to look like. Okay, let's keep going. And I don't know if you can see it or not, but there's a little bit of separation just starting to happen right here. Let's keep going. so here it is right now. It's been a couple more minutes, and you can see it's starting to separate a little bit more. So let's look in here. You can see it's grainy looking. So let's keep processing. Okay, so here, about another minute, this is what it looks like. You can see quite a bit of separation, and the butter is starting to come together a bit more. So we are almost done with the processor, but I'm going to let it go another maybe 30 seconds, and we'll see what it looks like. This is done, and now it is ready for the next step. Okay, so here's what it looks like. So now we get to strain off this liquid. So this liquid is what you would call sweet buttermilk. It is not cultured, whether naturally or by adding in a culture. It is uncultured, so it's not sour at all. So this buttermilk, this liquid here, you can just put that in smoothies or drink it or bake with it or whatever. So we will strain that off, and then we will take all of these butter chunks here and we will wash them in cold water. Okay, you ready? Mm-hmm. Okay, so we're just going to strain this off here. I want to get it all out. Okay. So like I said, this right here is like a sweet buttermilk. I mean, it's not sweet like sugar, okay, so don't expect that. But that just means that it's not sour, it's not cultured in any way. Again, you can use this for baking or drink it or put it in a smoothie or whatever you want. And then right here, this is all of the fat from the butter. This is all the milk fat. So we are going to turn this into butter. So let's go over to the sink and wash this. Okay, so now we're just going to put our milk fat in here. All right, and we're going to fill this up with some cold water. So we have cold water going in here. And what we're going to do is we're just washing the butter. And for any Amelia Bedelias out there, we are not using any soap. Okay, so we're just washing the butter, soap-free here. All right, so the way that I wash the butter is I just reach in here, grab it, and squeeze it like this, okay? And I do that for the first few batches. And you see how this water is really milky looking? So you wash it a few times like this, and then you strain the milk out of it, or then you strain the liquid out of it. Let me go ahead and get this to the side. So we're going to dump all that out, okay? Now we're going to wash it again with cold water. And this, for me, this usually takes about 4 or 5 washings, but you do it until your water stays clear after you have washed it. So you do it until your water stays clear. Okay, so this is the second washing, and you can see it is still milky colored, but you can actually see the bottom of the bowl. So this is better. Now we're going to do our third washing. Again with cold water. Okay, so I showed you how I squeeze it like this, but then usually after the first or second washing, I still squeeze it, but I also kind of fold it into itself, almost like you're kneading bread dough. I just do both ways, so that's just another way to do it. And it doesn't take very long to do this. Less than 5 minutes. So this is the third washing. and that water is much more clear. Much more clear. This one may only need 4 washings. Like I said, it's usually 4 or 5 washings, or maybe the 5th one is just because I like to, better safe than sorry. You want to make sure that you get out all of that buttermilk. That's why you want to make sure your water is completely clear, because if you leave any buttermilk in there, your butter can go rancid faster. Okay, strain that off. Now let's do a 4th washing. Okay, so this was the 4th washing, and the water, I don't know if you can see it or not, but it's clear. Alright, anyhow, so four washings was good enough for this. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and shape it, but first I like to pat it dry. So if you want to pause it. Okay, so I have a paper towel here, and I don't know if there's many people that do this or not. I just do. I like to get out the excess water here. So I just pat it with a paper towel. Okay, so I'm going to salt my butter. Okay, so I like salting my butter after this process. So I'm going to put about a teaspoon of salt, not quite, and we just use Redmond real salt. So I have almost a teaspoon of salt in here, and then I'm just going to put the butter in here and just mix it up. And you could add the salt when you are churning it in your food processor if you want. I just do it at this point. I prefer that. And of course you can use a spatula. I'm just a pretty hands-on person. And at this point you can taste the butter to see if you want to add any more salt. And if you wanted, you can even add, some spices if you want. A little bit of garlic powder. You can have a garlic butter. Or some herbs. Okay. Really, you could add anything. I mean, my daughter just said even honey if you wanted. But anyhow. We use quite a bit of butter around here, so this will be gone in less than a week. Okay, you can pause it for a second. Okay, so we have a little glass dish here, and it is lined with parchment paper. So we're going to take our wad of butter and press it in there, or you can just leave it as a wad of butter in this bowl. I mean, really, you can do however you want with it. Well, now we're going to stick this in the freezer. This butter has been in the freezer for about 2 hours now. These are still soft, okay, but they just froze for a couple hours. So now we're going to take them out and peel back the parchment paper. Okay, so I peeled back the parchment paper, all right, so, and the more pretty side, maybe. Now, whatever you want to do with them is up to you. If you guys go through quite a bit of butter, you may just choose to wrap this up completely and stick it in the freezer until you're ready to use it, or keep it in the fridge. I'm actually going to cut this in half. Oops. Okay. I'm actually going to cut this in half like this. Okay. You can see it's a beautiful, rich yellow color. See how pretty that is? All right. Anyway, so like I said, I'm cutting these in half because these are the right size, like this, for my butter dish. So, I will wrap each of these up into parchment paper and put in a freezer bag and stick back in the freezer until I'm ready for them. This one, because I did not have another container this shape This one is just round. So I'll just go ahead and I'll probably just split it in half as well. Okay. But I just like to freeze them just for a couple hours, just so they're firm enough to cut and wrap up. This is our last stick of the last batch that we have left that we made. And it's been in the freezer. I just got it out. And this butter is just so pretty. It's so tasty, so creamy and smooth. Just a beautiful yellow color. And when it melts, it is just bright yellow. It's so pretty. You can use this butter as you would any other butter. Anyway, it's just delicious. Thank you for watching. Thank you for watching, and I hope that you enjoyed this video. I hope that you go ahead and try to make your own butter using raw cream. If you find that your cream is not wanting to turn into butter, it could be for a few different things. One, perhaps maybe your cream is too cold. You can let it warm up to room temperature if you want. I usually make mine straight out of the fridge, but the colder it is, it may take longer to turn into butter. Mine usually goes about 10 to 20 minutes, depending on, I guess, the temperature before it turns into butter. Also, if your cream isn't turning into butter, perhaps maybe the fat content of the cream isn't quite high enough. Also, make sure that in your food processor that you're only filling it up about half full with the cream. It needs room, to actually whip around. All right? So I hope you enjoyed it, and thank you for watching.